Maximize your yields while spreading out your workload with the earliest maturing winter cereal. Visit kws.com/CA to see how our hybrid rye varieties can work for you. High yields, high quality, high value for your farm. KWS, seeding the future since 1856.
Let's find out what is going on in the U.S. right now politically and the impact it has on agricultural policy. Joining us right now is D.C. policy insider and analyst for Pro Farmer. It is Jim Wiesemeyer. Hey, Jim, how's it going?
Pretty good. We've been a witness to history, all of us, the last week, ever since the attempted assassination and the withdrawal of the race from our President Joe Biden.
Yeah. Have you gotten more than 3 hours of sleep the past week night?
About 3 to 4 in evening, and that's not a lie. I don't have to be a politician. That's the truth.
Okay, so yeah, the last 3 weeks have been a whirlwind. Between, we saw the debate that triggered a chain of events here that have transpired that is really, truly unprecedented. I don't know. It's been something we're all going to remember going forward, and we'll read about it in textbooks. What's your read on the president deciding not to run? And it looks like the selection will be Kamala Harris, the vice president. Is that a good strategy by the Democrats in your opinion?
Well, I heard earlier today, it's akin to like you're being on the Titanic and there's only one boat that goes by, so you get on it. This was a power play by the kingpin leaders in the Democratic Party. And by that, I mean Nancy Pelosi, the former speaker, Barack Obama, and the two leaders of the Democrats in Congress. This was a power play. They basically told Biden if he doesn't go willingly, he would be pushed.
Does it serve them well in the general to decide on who the candidate's going to be in this form or fashion? Like, doesn't it create a narrative, true or not? Doesn't it create a whole narrative for the Republicans to say, like, hey, like, they actually, this isn't a monarchy. You don't appoint somebody to be the leader of a party. That's kind of what happened here. But also that's where the funders have also put the money as well. They've spoken with their checkbook. So is it a good strategy in the sense, does it create a narrative for the Republicans to really lean on?
Well, the Republicans will say that, but the Democrats are, at least there's a honeymoon period for the Vice President Kamala Harris right now, and I don't know how long that's going to last. But I don't think they had much choice on the Democratic side. And the primaries, they did vote for the combined Biden-Kamala Harris ticket. And I don't think they wanted to go to the August 19th beginning of the Democratic National Convention with an open forum. It really, you have to go back to the old days where it was the backroom leaders of the party deciding. Again, I don't think they had a choice.
Heard a poll yesterday, 46-45 in favor of Trump versus Harris, 9% undecided. This is a change race. Game on.
Yeah, it was going to be close anyway, because even though the Democrats were alarmed, and they should have been, with Biden's performance, both his age and acuity, and we're going to hear that this evening at 8 o'clock Eastern time, the reasons why he got out, at least from his perspective. But when you had Democrats saying that it was going to be a bloodbath for them in the elections, I think that was a signal to get their Democrats to come to actually vote. We're a 50-50 country, and it was going to be close anyway. And that's what the polls are showing right now. And you were correct. It's going to depend on the independent, that 9 to as much as 15% of the American voters who are truly independent, and their vote is still up for grabs.
When you think about from the Republican side, I don't know if this is worst case scenario, but this is the scenario they were not cheering for. And I always thought this is why Trump was so quiet after that debate where Biden performed so poorly This is why I thought he was quiet, because this is not what he wanted to have happen.
That's clearly all their opposition research, their ads, it's not only going to be a lot more money and expenses for the Democrats, but also for the Republicans. And now with a female at the head of the ticket, you're going to have to be sensitive to that issue. And we all know that, former President Trump has problems with sensitivity. So he's going to have to throttle back in the next few months until election day and
Well,
in the debates.
well, he said he will debate her, and multiple times. I have heard numerous political analysts say that if they were the Republicans, they would keep Trump away from debating her. Her experience, she's not a great campaigner, but former prosecutor, very good from a debate standpoint. That seemed to be like from a political analyst standpoint. That's what I was hearing a lot of the past few days. But it sounds like they're going to debate. That'd be fascinating.
Yeah, we'll have at least one, if not two more debates. And now Trump has said he doesn't want it to be now on ABC News, which is a clear signal he wants Fox. So I
Yeah.
think that's an unknown at this time. But yeah, really the last time Kamala Harris was effective in people's judgments was when she was a senator and she asked a lot of hard questions on the Supreme Court nominee Kavanaugh,
Yeah.
if I recall. And you can tell she's getting confidence. That you can just tell in her initial campaign speeches. So we'll see if that continues. But the Republicans, if they are smart, and a lot of times they are not in campaigns, they'll just go to the positions. She's to the left, more liberal than Biden, and they should drive that home, at least from their perspective.
Yeah. What does this do for the farm bill? And I know these are not totally connected, but we've been seeing the past number of weeks where, if the Republicans are going to potentially control all three areas of government, might as well wait. Now what?
This almost guarantees that the only chance that you're going to have a new farm bill this calendar year is after the election. So we're going to have to see the lay of the land because you've got the Democrats recharged, at least right now. The enthusiasm is back. So I think that gap that was there when Biden was at the top of the ticket is dramatically narrowing, which means more voters, which means maybe fewer young black people voting for Trump than would have been before. Maybe fewer Hispanic voters. What that means for the farm bill is that it's on hold, and so dramatic. You're going to have another extension of the 2018 farm bill. Why I say there's still a chance in the lame duck session after November 5th elections is if the Republicans run the gambit and win the White House, House, and Senate. A Republican new president, in this case Trump, they want to begin with as clear of a deck as possible. And they don't want to go through a farm bill debate in 2025. Absent that, you've got it going the other way. G.T. Thompson, the House Ag Committee chairman, yesterday, he vented against Senate Ag Committee chairwoman, Republican Debbie Stabenow. I mean, he took the gloves off. So you can say it's going the other way, Shaun, as far as the animosity between the House and Senate Ag Committee. There's no bipartisan spirit up there right now.
And what are they like? What is creating that or fueling that separation from where they appeared to be a little bit more reconciliatory, months ago?
Yeah, the coalition that usually got you farm bills, Thompson said that's a facade right now that Stabenow keeps building on, that she says it should be bipartisan, should be a coalition. That's a signal they want no changes in food stamp program funding, or how it's operated under Commodity Credit Corporation Charter Act of the secretary's flexibility on that, and of course climate conservation spending. Now, and the Republicans are frustrated because they know they need an additional $53 billion on top of the $1.51 trillion cost of the farm bill over 10 years. Why I say it still could happen in a supplemental spending bill or an end of year bill after the election, there could be a meetings of the minds where the leadership in both the House and Senate, both political parties, say, okay, no changes in food stamps, and by the way, Thompson, here's the money that you need. While the odds are against that, you cannot rule that out.
What about China? Going back to the two candidates, we know where Biden stood on China, it seemed. We know where Trump stands on China. Both have records there. When I was with Chip Flory, host of AgriTalk last week down in Memphis at the Helena Innovation Expo last week, you talked to cotton growers, super concerned about China policy indeed. Where would Harris be on China? Any indications?
Well, she would be aggressive. Both political parties, the Democrats and Republicans, are being aggressive against China. So that means they're both trade protectionists too, and that's what has U.S. farmers and ranchers very nervous. Now, Republican-oriented farmers think and hope that if it's Trump again in the White House, that they will have income transfer payments like what occurred in the U.S.-China trade war before. They're probably correct in that environment. But Trump would be even more aggressive in challenging China than any Harris administration. Here's an example we just saw yesterday. Elon Musk, the Tesla guy, said he's delaying any expansion of his plants in Mexico until he sees the results of the election. Now, I think that answers your question, Shaun, because they want to see if he's going to get real aggressive, Trump will take aspects to bring the manufacturers of cars into the United States, not Mexico.
Yeah, trying to cut out the nearshoring.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, to wrap up here, just curious, we saw the withdrawal out of the campaign by President Biden. It was in relation to a poor performance versus Trump. What if it had been Haley? Would we have had the same would there have been as much pressure on him? Or is it like or is
it
it
would have been Haley what?
Like say it was Haley versus Biden and he had performed that poorly. Like to me there's like the Trump factor. Everything is so like and there's such a history between the two.
See, I think that the facade, the allure that they are not all the media in the U.S., but it's Democratic oriented. They lost their battle of protecting Biden after that after the first debate, and the Wizard of Oz was found out what he was, and where most Americans were, and so that was it. So no, I think no matter who it was, and plus ever since that, it looks like he's getting worse from an acuity perspective. I hate to see that. I hate to say that, but it's the truth. So no, I think that it was obvious to most Americans, even our press, because they didn't have a curtain to hide behind any longer.
Yeah, well, hey, we've Ronald Reagan, right? There was at the
last 6 months of his term, it was bad. Yes, it was bad. Yeah, and that's why it'll be curious tonight how President Biden addresses the remainder of the time he has in the White House. Is he up to it? So that'll be a particular focus. I know that the Republicans are saying if he can't run for president, he should resign from the White House. We'll see. Yeah. But anyway, I want a bottom line again for agriculture. What farmers are going to look for is their policies on energy. Harris was banning fracking, so that's going to be a problem for her in Pennsylvania. They want to hear what they have to say on taxes because the state taxes, there's a wide difference between Harris and Trump on taxes. and it's just on immigration policy. Eventually, it's going to get to the issues, and that's where most of the prognosticators still will tilt toward Trump winning this election. But we've got a long ways to go between now and November 5th.
Yeah, this thing got a whole lot more interesting in the last few days.
It
Hey,
did.
Jim, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Anytime.